Hey guys, it's Goosebumps Completionist, bringing you another TV episode review. So this is my second episode review I've done so far, and that is going to be from season 4, Cry of the Cat. This by far is one of my favorite episodes they ever did in the series. It bugs me how overlooked this episode really is. This is definitely going to be in my top 10 probably forever for the original series. Recently I watched it for the second time, and I was really blown away because I think the first time I watched this I was probably a youngster watching it as it aired on television. So, standout episode. I was wrong about season 4 being meh. Yeah, there you go. But anyway, let's get into the plot. So it follows this main character named Allison, which, by the way, Allison, the actress who plays Allison, also starred in another episode. She played a character in the episode Calling All Creeps. And her friend in this two-parter, Ryan, was the little boy in A Night in Terror Tower, the brother, Eddie. So off the bat, Allison and Ryan, really good actors to be in this two-parter. Some of the best acting jobs, I think, ever in Goosebumps history goes to these two. Kudos. But there's a great opening scene in the first episode. It kind of tricks you, gives you kind of an Exorcist kind of vibe. Really digging it, really digging the cinematography that went into this episode. Shout out to the director. I don't know the director's name that directed this specific episode, but good job on that. So the scene happens, and it's revealed that they're on the set of, I think, a movie shoot or a TV show shoot, which is completely different from the book from what I gather. I've never read the book, but I know that's a minute difference. But the plot device in the episode was a movie set of some sort. So Allison is done filming whatever for that day, and she takes her bike and she rides around an accompanying neighborhood, and she hits this cat. And unbeknownst to her, this cat is not a normal cat, as we'll come to find out. So she feels guilty about hitting this cat, and she meets this girl named Crystal. And Crystal says, oh, that cat's name is Rip, and that cat is not a normal cat. You need to stay away from that cat. That cat will do some weird things to you. Allison kind of shrugs it off, and she goes back home, I guess, and then the next day she goes filming again, and she sees this terrifying cat. And this is where body horror starts coming in to this episode, some visual true horror. Some of the best effects. I mean, when you see this cat, you are gonna cringe. I mean, it's gonna make you unsettled, for real. So she's terrified of this thing. I think anybody would be terrified. Ryan doesn't know what's going on really at this point, but you know, Allison's kind of shaken up. She goes to collect her thoughts. I think she goes home, and then she interacts with this cat. And this cat scratches her, and next thing you know, Allison is finding herself in a whirlwind of weird things happening, and it cliffhangs at the very last part of the first part of the two-parter, and it cliffhangs literally. When I say literally, there's a literal cliffhang, as you'll see, and it hangs you there. And then the second part picks up right where the first part left off. And there's a big revelation early on in the episode that maybe she has some type of effect happening to her. There's another big revelation in the hospital, which is another terrifying scene. You can't unsee this. I'm telling you, you can't unsee this. But there's a terrifying hospital scene. Allison escapes. She realizes that something is terribly wrong. She goes and talks to Crystal again, and Crystal explains a little backstory about Rip the cat. She realizes that maybe people are in danger. She goes to find where her friends are at. I guess Ryan and the other people producing the movie, and she runs up to the set, and Rip has taken over. And there's also a really funny explosion scene that I'll get to in a little bit that I think they were trying to be serious with, but it was just too funny to really take serious. And Allison tells Ryan, look, this is what's going on. They go back to Crystal. They find Crystal, and they go into Crystal's house. And Crystal's mom holds the key to maybe helping Allison. So Crystal takes Ryan and Allison downstairs. And then there's this creepy, unsettling plot device in there. Comes out of left field. It's a big old twist. And what you will see will terrify you. I mean, the makeup, the effects. I mean, this is true body horror, what's down in this basement. That entire basement scene in part 2 is so scary. I mean, literally, probably the scariest 3 to 4 minutes ever in Goosebumps, ever. It was petrifying. So then it's revealed, another big twist is revealed, what Rip needs and what Rip intends. And then Allison and Ryan come up with a clever device to get themselves out of the situation, and it works. And then something happens that kind of resolves at the end of the climax. And then it leaves on a borderline disgusting note. Like something is not right. And yeah. And from what I gather, that's also different from the book. Yeah, I kind of got spoiled a little bit with the beginning and the end and some little pieces here. But I've never read the book, but I definitely plan on to after this because this episode was amazing. So for starters, I loved the scenes in this episode. Some of the truly horrifying scenes in Goosebumps you will see in this episode. It is very sophisticated. The acting is amazing. The makeup, the makeup artists crushed this. The animatronics people who made Rip crushed it. I mean, it was truly an amazing two-parter. I think by far one of my all-time favorite episodes. I will definitely put it pretty high in my top 10 when I officially do a ranking. So I loved everything about this episode. But let's tie back to the explosion part. That was kind of cringeworthy. That really took away the overall perception of that scene and what it was trying to do. That explosion was too funny. I mean, it wasn't scary. I know it was trying to go for scary, but it just comes out of nowhere, and you'll know what I'm talking about when it happens. And it's going to make you laugh. If you have a dark, twisted sense of humor, I guess, like me. But yeah, that was my big negative with that. It just took away such a pivotal scene in that second part that I had to deduct some points. So, let's get into the realistic grade of this episode. This two-parter was fantastic, but like I said, that explosion, I had to deduct 0.2 off for that in the second part. Part 1 was pretty much, I had nothing to complain about. So the overall realistic grade is a 4.8 out of 5. Really exceptional Goosebumps episode. Fantastic. Fantastic episode. Cannot stress that enough. My personal grade, what I really want to give it is a 5. I love this episode. I love it for what it is. Like I said, that explosion scene kind of takes away from that pivotal moment in part 2. That's why it had to be realistic and take some points off. But other than that, I think if you guys want to start Goosebumps on a dark note, start here. I mean, this sets the bar pretty high if you start here for episodes. I'm going to say there's really only 2 episodes that kind of mirror this. I would really compare it, and that would be Welcome to Dead House and The Werewolf of Fever Swamp. Those are the only 2 episodes I would really say that compare to this type of body horror and truly visual horror. Other than that, I think that no other Goosebumps episodes compare. So, what did you guys think of Cry of the Cat? Do you guys think it's underrated? Did you think I was really lenient or really excited for this episode than you would be? Let me know down in the comment section. I got 2 more reviews right after this, so stay tuned. So until next time,